What's going on, guys? This is Chandler Smith, and today I am here with my buddy Garrett Myers. He's actually worked with me for the last 4 or 5 years and is 6 years.
6 years.
He's worked with me the last 6. It's been a minute. So Garrett is one of my top earners. You made how much this year?
Just shy of 2 million. Shy of 2 million by about 1,600,000.
Perfect. So right around 400,000. He's worked here for years, leads a division, and has been killing it in the door-to-door sales space, and has how many rental properties?
I have 2 duplexes down in Utah, a single-family home that I rent to some college kids, a tiny home up here in Idaho, and then I'm under contract on this and a cabin.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Cool. And what Garrett's done different, I've done a little bit of vacation rental, but you're going to be using the cabin as a vacation rental, and you're looking into using this single family home that's just been remodeled as a vacation rental.
Yeah,
so
a tiny home.
Definitely. So we're going to go in and kind of do an analysis of this 1-bedroom home and a big garage in the back, and kind of talk about how you've run the numbers to come to the conclusion of buying this property. So
Cool.
Let's jump into it.
Let's do it.
So first off, I am seeing you've got a new metal roof, all new siding. Whoever just finished with this place before you bought it got it looking really cutesy. It's looking super clean. Everything's new on the exterior. The lawn's taken good care of. So really,
Concrete work, just
yeah, it grabs your eye, and it's kind of a cute little place for sure. So, a couple things. I mean, you've been through, inspected it. You've got all brand new windows, all new flooring, a new water heater. It's got a furnace downstairs.
Yeah,
Fairly new furnace. You've got, oven's in great shape. You've got a brand new washer and dryer in the bathroom. Let's just kind of do a walkthrough. But I mean, I'm feeling they made sure that anything that was wrong with the floor, because it was an old home that was renovated, has been pretty leveled out. It just
couple
looks
little dips, but nothing crazy.
definitely nothing to worry about. And they redid all of the electrical and all of the plumbing.
Yeah, it's got PEX plumbing, so it's the new style, not the old galvanized pipes. It looks like the electrical was all done really well in the crawl space underneath. It looks like it should be a fairly clean unit.
Definitely. Just coming in here, you can see they put in new carpet, can handle quite a bit. Pretty small bedroom, but they've done a good job. It feels new for being an older home.
For a vacation rental or like a traveling nurse or something like that, it shouldn't be a big issue at all.
Yeah.
We really liked the kitchen. I'm thinking that there used to be a wall here. That's kind of the old style. Rather than leaving the wall, they tore it down, added this kind of accent piece, and it really opens up what's actually a very small room, makes it just feel a lot bigger. We had kind of talked about maybe putting like a trundle bed up in the corner that will fold up, just give some more access to have, rather than 2 people, 4 people, and then maybe a couch or 2 with a hideaway bed. Open it up to 5 or 6 people who really want to squeeze in here tight.
Crash. Yeah, awesome. Then check out the bathroom. One thing I like for being small is they really got the spacing well on putting your stackable washer and dryer. You can just go in and take a peek.
Yeah, we really like the stackable washer and dryer, and it's nice too because all that stuff eats into your cash flow. So I won't have to pay for a washer and dryer. I won't have to buy a fridge. I won't have to redo really anything. I'm just kind of financing it all in and hoping I can get the best return possible.
Yeah, so turnkey. And one thing that's interesting, in this market, there aren't a lot of people doing vacation rentals, and the people that are have actually done substantially well. And so it's one of those where like the value add is almost just using it in a different way for what you're paying for.
Yeah, I think it would be fine as just a typical rental, year lease and whatever. I think it would be fine, but I think we'll be able to really capitalize on Yellowstone and the 4th of July and some of the bigger attractions here by doing it on a nightly basis.
Totally. And one thing we'll do before we finish the walkthrough is go and run through the numbers. And one thing that's super important for me on vacation rentals is making sure that it's at least cash flowing something.
Yeah.
If you needed to flip it back, if the market got weird, so that you're never losing money, you're always cash flowing. And so we'll run the numbers. And with this one, it looks like it's super clean on that too. I mean, it's not like a 10% cash on cash return, but overall it's still going to be cash flowing. And you've got something else that even when you're not doing well on vacation rental, you're going to be able to rent that as well. So we're going to go take a peek outside. So this shed is actually pretty cool. Did we leave it unlocked?
We gotta go from the other side. There,
okay.
Blocked off.
Cool.
So originally this appealed to me because we own a lawn mowing business and a Christmas light business, and I had thought that if nothing else, I'd have a house and then a shed to run my businesses out of. But as I got thinking, I'm not entirely sure what the market will be for something like this, but I would think I could rent it out to a little business of some kind, or
some kind of storage unit.
Yeah, some kind of storage unit. And I think I could get $300 a month out of it. It's got some 220 volt outlets, a lot of power in other places, really good lighting.
Could start a dang laundromat in here.
Yeah, maybe that's what we'll do. Investment, Joy, I see you. Yeah, should be good.
Cool. So you're thinking 300. That way, if you are vacation renting it, you've always got a consistent 300, and your mortgage on this place is probably right around 600 a month.
Yeah, yep. At 25% down, including property taxes, insurance, all that good stuff, it's about 600, 650.
That's awesome. So cool. Well, let's go run the numbers. But from your plan, if you're pulling 300 in this, which you think is realistic, what are you hoping to pull per month on average in the rent with a vacation rental?
So I think if I just rented that, not vacation rental, but I think if I just rented it, I could probably get somewhere between $750 and $825. I'm hoping, and that's the thing with vacation rentals, you'll have huge months and you'll have really slow months, but I'm hoping that I can average somewhere around $1,100 a month. I think that that's somewhat reasonable, maybe a little aggressive.
Let's go run the numbers on both, just to kind of show people like what got you comfortable with doing this as a vacation rental, and if you need to rent it on the side.
Okay, let's do it.
Cool. And before we do that, let's do one more walkthrough so you can see how cool this property is. I mean, you've got a nice little backyard back in here.
The nice thing too, you see these orange stripes on the lawn?
Yeah.
So this property almost went under contract at 140,000. It almost went under contract at 135,000. I was able to get it under contract at 130,000, and then they're paying all my closing costs. And the reason for that is, with this kind of property, you're mostly dealing with first-time home buyers or someone who's just looking to live in it. So they have a lot of kind of quirky requests. They wanted the seller to put in a fence, but there was some issue with where the fence would go. The property line's just kind of staggered and kind of weird. So I feel bad saying this, but I ended up stealing this out from an older lady who was wanting to get a fence put in and getting them to drop it $5,000 just because I told them they wouldn't have to do the fence.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So you're one fence away from selling it to an older lady for an extra, what, $5,000-$10,000?
Yep.
Backup plan. All right, so we're gonna run through, and I'll put up a little screen so you can see what we're doing. But purchase price, you've got this under contract for how much?
I've got it at $130,000, and then they're paying my closing costs.
Cool. And you're gonna do 25% down.
25 down.
30 years. What's your interest rate coming in at?
It should be, because it's only a single family, I'm hoping I can get it for right around 4.
Rents on this property. If you were to just rent it, we want to look at like worst case. How much are you thinking you can get out of this unit?
I don't see any reason I couldn't get $750 out of just the house.
So you're looking at $1,050 with the garage.
Yeah. Yep.
Which, with my numbers, also, what are your taxes at?
Taxes are at $1,500 if I don't live in it. So
$1,500.
they're like $1,520.
Okay. Cool. So that is putting your cap at almost a 6 flat. Your cash on cash at a 6.89, which means your cash flow with 25% down would be $2,200, and that's with me running maintenance at 12%, management at 7%, and a 6% vacancy. So it doesn't meet my rule where I would buy at a 10% cash on cash return. However, if you can't vacation rent it or something weird goes in the market, you're still going to be paying your mortgage and cash flowing, which I know a lot of people in a lot of markets would kill for a deal like this. Obviously, you're using it for something else. So with you using it as a vacation rental, how much are you thinking on average per month you're looking between this and the garage?
Cool. So with the cabin that I'm under contract on, I've looked at a lot of the statements and things. So I don't have them for this, but I'm just kind of basing it roughly on that. The summer months should be really, really hot. I think during the summer months, I should be able to bring in closer to, 1,800, 2,000 even. And then the winter months, the fall months, the slower time, I'm hoping that I can still bring in 800 to 1,000 to where I'm averaging maybe 1,200 a month.
1,200 a month. And is that including the
That's
garage?
not including the garage.
So, I mean, top end, you're looking at a potential for 1,500. Bottom end, heck, probably 1,000 or 1,100, where you're still
doing okay.
So, if you can do that after expenses and everything, it's not unrealistic to think that this property could be bringing in between a 15 and a 20% cash on cash return as a vacation rental.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. There's a lot of different factors that weigh in, but it would be awesome if we can get that.
Awesome. Cool. And with this one, you haven't done a lot of vacation rentals before, but you've kind of looked at the market and feel like that's where it's at. And what better way to start than a $130,000 property?
It's a pretty safe investment. I'm on AirDNA here in town, and so kind of watch the market. And I have another good friend who Airbnbs here in town, and he crushes it. I mean, he's doubling up on his mortgage every month, and he's in a much bigger property than this. So I think it'll do really well. Other backup plans I have, if it doesn't, like I say, we have here in town the Idaho National Laboratory that brings in a lot of interns. I think I could do 4-month, 6-month leases with interns and do really well on that. Traveling nurses is another big one that a lot of vacation type properties look at in the slow months, and they pay up to like $1,000, $1,500 a month for a place like this, just because it's convenient and they don't have to worry about it. That's kind of the plan.
Yeah. Well, one thing I would say is I see a lot of people going into vacation rentals as their first property, and they're banking on a certain amount of rents. All right. And they're saying, oh, it's going to be a 15, 20% cash on cash return. But when you look at their worst case scenario, if they were to put a tenant in the property, they would be negative cash flow, which to me is just stupid. I mean, with this situation, what's so cool about it is if you're going to experiment and do a vacation rental, which I really think will do really well, especially how nice and cute and well done this property is, even if something weird in the market happens or it's not as good as you thought, you're still in an awesome place where you're cash flowing on a property. And so it's just a situation where if you're going to experiment, why not do it with a property like this where your worst case scenario is, oh man, I'm only getting a 7% cash on cash return instead of a 10%.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with a 7% return. It's not where we want to be, but we'll take it.
100%. No, that's awesome. So makes me jelly that you beat me to it. All these freaking fetchers in Idaho jumping in on all these deals.
It's a Shark Tank.
Awesome. No, so that's a sick setup. Thanks so much, Garrett, for letting us come take a peek at this property. And in the future, I want to learn a lot more about vacation rentals, but thank you for informing and showing us this awesome deal. And maybe we'll do a follow-up video here in a year after you've absolutely wrecked it on your return. So if you guys enjoyed the video, push the like button and subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you in the next video where our goal is to help you to create a huge passive income for yourself. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.